Hey guys, so I bought this Grand Garden Chalet 6x3 shed that I'm going to put on my deck here that I'm going to assemble. And as you can see, it has quite a large number of parts here. There's these pieces here, and then these pieces, and then there's you know, outside walls here, some shelves and more walls, and this is the base of the shed here. And already I've had one problem. So this piece right here, as you can see, when it arrived in the box, you know, all this stuff was shipped in 3 separate boxes, and the total weight on this is about 300 pounds. But everything seems okay so far except for this one piece. And you can see what happened here is there are 2 knots in this piece of wood. There's one knot on this side, and then if we turn it over, there's another knot on that side, and these are two separate knots. You can see one on that corner, one on that corner. And what happened right where these knots are, it basically just split as the wood dried out, I guess. A crack must have formed and it just split. And when I went to pick it up, you can see right here that one little corner was all that was attaching it, and it came off, but the whole thing just split cleanly right there because of those 2 knots, I think. The rest of the boards look okay. So we'll see how this goes. The shed's going to sit right here, and I'm going to use it to store the cushions for the deck furniture I recently bought. So we'll see how it goes. And there's quite a bit of hardware that comes with the package here. As you can see, there's hinges here, and quite a few nails and screws that come in the package. So should be an adventure. Hey guys, so it's a week later, and the first day, last weekend, I wasn't able to do a whole lot because it rained, and it rained again today. But I got this much done. I got the walls up and connected to the floor. And you see they screw in down there with 2.5-inch screws. And smells good. Smells like cedar. There's the roof. I've got to put the some shingles here on the side. I'm not sure why they leave those off, but I've got to put shingles on there and on this side, and then put it up there on top of the roof. And then there's some trim pieces I've got to put on. So I'm hoping to get this thing finished this weekend. There's the back of it. Alright. Okay, I want to give an update on the shed assembly. As you can see, I have the walls up, and these 2 little shelves, and there's one here and one on the other side. I think the instructions say to put them both on the same side, one up high and one low, but I think I like this layout better. And I haven't attached these yet because I'm not sure I even need these for what I'm using this shed for, so I may leave this unattached for a while, and when I'm happy with it, I'll go ahead and attach them. I was able to work around the broken support here. I drilled a couple of holes in either side of this, lined it up, and then cut the heads off some nails and used those to kind of mend this back together. And then I took a heavy-duty staple gun and tacked it around the sides to support it. And this is nailed down It just holds the shingles on you know, tight, so it's not really supporting much of the structure. So I think that'll be fine. I don't think it's a problem. It was kind of a pain and took me an extra hour or two. And yeah, I haven't actually made really good progress because it's been raining yesterday and last week it rained, so haven't really made as much progress as I should have. It really doesn't take that much time to put this thing together. This is, you know, the state I've got here. If it weren't for mending that broken wood, I think it'd only take less than 2 hours to get to this point, as long as you've got the tools. It goes pretty quick, but it's taken me probably 3 or 4 hours to get to this point, just because of that wood and the rain kind of interfering and slowing me down. So today I'm going to put the shingles on the roof and get the roof on, and actually hopefully I can finish the whole thing today. It's still early today, so I'm going to be working most of the day on this, so I think I can get it done if I don't take too many breaks. We'll see. Okay, I've got the roof on now, and I've got some of the front trim on. There's trim. Well, actually this is trim right here. This is trim up here, and then this is going to be covered up later with another piece of trim, but that has to be put on separately. So, and the roof is on. As I said, those shingles that had to be put on the side are on there, but I've got a little bit of a problem at this point. So the video that is online that gives instructions for how to assemble shows a different hinge, and the pre-drilled holes on this hinge, if you line it up, as you can see, this back hole extends past the end of the wood. So it seems like these holes were drilled for a different kind of hinge. So I think I need to move the hinge further, a little closer to the wood and the edge of the wood, and then drill another hole, and that way all the holes on the hinges will be able to be screwed in. But that's kind of disappointing. You'd think that that they would get that right, but they did not. It appears. Okay, the hinges were a little finicky to get in. I did end up drilling new holes to put in the bolts, so that the hinges are nice and flush with the back side of the doors. And I did drill pilot holes for these two screws. And just a little tip, if you're making one of these, be sure not to over tighten these, which I didn't. I was really careful. I used the electric drill to get it almost tight, and then hand tightened it the last few turns to keep from stripping it. Also, the bolts here they use on the end are not, in my opinion, not long enough to use the washer with. So I attached them without the washer, and I think that's fine. And the nuts on the other side, I let them sink into the wood a little bit. So that, I think that'll just keep them tight anyway. I prefer that to the washer approach myself. Okay, so I've got the doors on, and it actually worked out really well. And I just wanted to emphasize, if you have hinges that look like these, you are going to have to drill another hole. That was the right thing to do. When I did it, I wasn't sure if I was doing the right thing or not, but the holes they have in here aren't at the right location, so you're going to have to drill another hole so that the back side of this hinge, when it's closed before you put the doors on, lays flat against the back of this. That's the right way to do it. One little tip, when you put the doors on, you'll want to use a shim, and here I've got a couple of spare shingles. They give you a few extra shingles, which is good. And so I have a couple of them sitting here, which I rested the door on. Each door, when I put it on, that gives you that creates the space at the bottom and it supports the door so that you have, you know, it's not a problem holding it and getting everything squared up and at the right distance, leaving the right space on top here, you can see. So shimming the door at the bottom and on the sides here is very important. So again, I used a little piece of wood in here to leave that space, and then at the bottom for the door to rest on when I put it on, and it worked out just, you know, pretty much perfect. These doors open and close very, very easily, and the directions say leave an 1/8 of an inch clearance on top, and that's just about perfect. So I'm happy with the way the doors turned out, in spite of the problem with where that hole is. You can see here there isn't much clearance on that nut, on that bolt coming through the nut, so I left the washers off like I said. Okay, this will be the final video of the shed assembly. I'm happy with the results, although, you know, there were a couple little hiccups with the materials. You know, that one broken board and the holes, the pre-drilled holes for the hinges not being in the right place. Neither one of those caused me a huge headache. I guess the broken board added about an hour or two to the total construction time, because I had to kind of mend the two pieces together as best I could, and I think it'll be fine. The hinges really didn't cause me any problem, because I recognized what the problem was and how to get around it pretty quickly, but I could see how it could cause problems for some people, because they would end up drilling holes in the wrong places and stuff like that. But I'm very happy with the results, and it works very well for the purpose I intended it for, to store these seat cushions for the deck furniture here. And I did end up screwing these shelves in just to make it a little stronger. I think the instructions say to use finishing nails, but I used some of the screws, and you definitely want to drill pilot holes. I would probably recommend drilling pilot holes for almost every screw, because the wood here is, as you can see, it's thin and easy to split. So, but I'm happy with it. It's solid. It's rained several times since the roof has been on. It hasn't leaked, as best as I can tell. It smells great because it's cedar. Yeah, so that's about it. I'd say it took me about I don't know, 14 hours total to put together. 12-14 hours, but I think someone who really knew what they were doing, an experienced carpenter, could put this together in 6 hours, I imagine. And the video instructions were, I would say, pretty well done. I didn't look at the paper instructions at all. I only used the video instructions, and it was very accurate and easy to follow. Okay, so there you go.